some of you know, but I think many of you do not know that I'm also a knitter. I've pretty much been knitting exclusively with clover bamboo needles for like the last decade, and they contacted me asking if I would do a video about their newly redesigned needles, and I was like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? So I thought it would be fun to show off their needles and also give you guys kind of like a basic overview of beginner knitting so that maybe you won't feel afraid and maybe you'll feel inspired to learn how to knit yourselves, and then you can get a pair of clover takumi bamboo needles. So first of all, look what they sent me. She beautiful. And here's all the stuff. They sent me this goody little row counter. So you slip this on your needle while you're working, and then you just move it up manually to keep track of your rows, which is really cool. And then this little guy to keep bits and bobs in, kind of an overview on like the new features of the redesigned needles. Well, let's talk about the differences real quick. So for sure the most remarkable upgrade, and I definitely call it an upgrade, is the fact that the needles now rotate. Because on the old design, they do not. They are just fused together. And that definitely leads to having to sometimes manually like rotate your work. But this will prevent that, and that is definitely a plus. Another thing they've changed is the etching into the wood with the info on the size is like smoother and softer, and I've never really had a problem with that with any of my other hooks or needles. This is knitting, but I could definitely see if you were working with a more delicate yarn than I usually do, this would definitely be an improvement. And I know with like interchangeable needles and hooks and stuff, sometimes the join area is kind of rough. This feels very smooth. I do not think any yarn would snag on this. I can't afford to replace all of my needles with the upgraded versions, but I would if I could immediately. Now, because these needles are so tiny, I'm going to show you guys a quick little knitting tutorial using much larger needles, but I will make something with these. So first what you need to do is you need to cast on, and you can, in fact, use a crochet hook to cast on, and it is actually the best method, in my opinion. So we're going to cast on 10 stitches just to make this easy. So you want to make a slip knot as you normally would for a crochet project, and you want to put it on your crochet hook. Then you want to slip the needle on top of the working end of your yarn, and you just want to yarn over and pull through. And then you're going to move the yarn to the back of the needle so the needle stays in the front, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. I think you're getting it. Alright, so once you've got 10, well, guess what? The loop that's on your hook actually counts as one of your stitches, so you actually need to pull one off carefully. And then you want to take this stitch and just put that right on the needle. And then you can get rid of that because you will be knitting. Now, to start knitting, you really need to learn the knit stitch, the purl stitch, and then eventually you've got to learn how to increase and decrease. And honestly, just knowing how to do that, you'll be able to do a lot of projects. So this is going to be a really quick, not in-depth overview of a knit stitch. So to do a knit stitch, you want to wrap the yarn around your hands like you would to crochet, and then you want to insert the needle through the loop that's on the other needle, and you want it to be in the back, and then you're just going to wrap it around, and then you're going to bring it through the loop. As you get better at this, you'll be able to do a much more fluid motion, but obviously in the beginning, it's going to be awkward, but as your skills improve, you'll get faster and faster, your tension will even out, and you'll have a much better time. Once you've done your 10 knit stitches, you'll see on the other side there's all these little bumpy guys. Now, if you just knit over and over with back and forth rows, you're going to have a really bumpy texture the whole way through, and that's called a garter stitch. But if you want to have one side be those smooth, happy little V's, you're going to have to alternate knit and purl back and forth the whole way. But to purl, I like to put the needle in the loop first because you have to bring it in through the front this time. And then I grab it my normal way. But it's basically the same exact movement, you're just doing it with the needle in the front. So you loop over, and then you keep that on your needle, and you pull that through. Go through, come around, keep that on there, go through. And again, this is only just a basic overview to make knitting seem a little less scary and intimidating. You'll need to go off and follow a real tutorial if you actually want to learn how to knit. But like, it's so simple once you master the hand movements. And everybody knits a little bit differently, just like everybody crochets a little bit differently. But once you master it, it's really simple. It's kind of mindless, especially if you are knitting in the round endlessly and you can just do knit stitches over and over rather than having to alternate knit and purl. It's so simple. So here's what you get after a few more rows. You can see those lovely knitted V's, and then the back side is the purl side, and it's all bumpy and funky. Now, as for my project with my little new needles, I've got some of this left over from We Crochet, so this will be perfect. Loop, 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 loop. So obviously this project is gonna take me a minute. It's gonna be a really dreamy, thick, cozy earwarmer headband. I will let you guys know when I finish and I'll show you, but until then, I hope this kind of piqued your interest and you are interested in knitting. Honestly, don't bother buying any other needles except Clover Takumi bamboo needles. Like, there's no point. Just buy them. They're the best. They're superior. Bye.